Okay, wahoo hey, it's story time today. So years ago, I was riding my bike on a solo tour all by myself, camping, all the packs, all that kind of stuff. So this tour started in, I took the train to Seattle, I took a ferry to Victoria, so I'm way off track of my story because that's not the part of the tour where the story happened. I started in Victoria, went over to Vancouver, rode my bike along BC Highway 3 all the way across the bottom side of British Columbia over to Idaho and rode my bike down Idaho. I didn't know Idaho very well then. I was young and innocent. Anyway, I had heard that there were some people hanging out in Idaho that maybe were not the people you wanted to get to know. People like skinheads, people like racists, people like KKK, people like, I don't know, maybe there were even some devil worshippers. Anyway, that's the kind of thing that people were telling me, and I didn't know anything. So I got over to BC Highway 3. A highway drops down into the northeast corner of Washington along the Pend Oreille River. Anyway, rode down the Pend Oreille River down to a place called Newport Old Town, Washington-Idaho border, right there. And intersects right there at Idaho Highway 41, which drops right down to Coeur d'Alene. Coeur d'Alene was 125 miles away from the place I started, and I didn't think I wanted to ride 125 miles. I just rode 75 miles into a headwind, and I'm sitting in Newport at the Safeway. You know, bike with all the bags leaned up against the wall. I'd gone to the Safeway and got some goodies, and I'm sitting there leaning against the wall next to my bike, chomping away at things. And of course, if you've ever done any touring, people see you sitting there and they say, hey, where'd you come from? How far did you go today? Where are you going? It's always a million questions because you're interesting. So I'm sitting there and I'd say, well, I thought I would stay at Spirit Lake. And somebody says, oh, I don't know if you want to stay at Spirit Lake. You know, that's where the devil worshippers are. Yeah, you know, they got the skinheads and they got the devil worshippers and they got the KKK and they all go to Spirit Lake and grab people and sacrifice them. I don't think you want to stay at Spirit Lake. So I got freaked out. And I'm thinking to myself, nah, they're just trying to scare me. I'm going to stay at Spirit Lake. They're just trying to scare me. And I'm riding along, and you know, I left the Safeway. I'm heading down Highway 41, and I come up next to the sign that says Spirit Lake Campground that way. And I just kept riding on by because I was scared. I rode by, and I rode all the way down to Coeur d'Alene. Landed in Coeur d'Alene, it was a downhill. I guess there was some flat, but I felt pretty good. So cruised into Coeur d'Alene, found a bed and breakfast of all things. I had no idea. This was, like I say, years ago. I'm looking for a hotel, but all the hotels are booked. What are they booked up with? They're having a baseball convention thing. I don't know what it is, but like every Little League junior baseball player in the western half of the United States apparently was in Coeur d'Alene that night looking for hotel rooms. And so I show up wearing my Lycra, and the elderly woman running the bed and breakfast has a room for me, and she says, are you a baseball player? And I said, well, no, I'm a bicycle rider. Here's my bike right here. I just rode here from far away and up in Canada, etc. And stayed there that night. That was 125 miles. I thought 125 miles is a long ways to ride a bike into a headwind with full packs. Tomorrow I'll take it easy. So I take off, heading south, US Highway 95. My destination is Boise because I got plane tickets to fly out of Boise. And so that's where I'm going, but that's several days away. And I'm not thinking I'm going to get there. But I'm thinking I might make it to Lewiston. Yeah, but geez, that's another 125 miles, and it's up and it's down and it's up. I'm not going to get to Lewiston. Well, maybe I'll make it to Moscow. Actually, what I thought then was maybe I'll make it to Moscow because that's how I thought you would say it. Ride my bike along, I ride up this long hill, and then I'm riding along on kind of the flats where I grow the potatoes, and then I drop back down. I'm climbing up some hill, and then I'm probably, I don't know, 10, 15 miles north of Moscow. And this pickup truck goes past me, and it has all of the signs that you should be worried about. It's rusted, it's old, it's got a gun rack, and it's got a guy driving it who's wearing, you know, a baseball style cap with a brim, you know, like this, right? And all greasy. Of course, the guy pulls off on the side of the road in his pickup truck, a little tiny pullout, not really big enough. He pulls out and gravel's flying, and he jumps out of his truck. He says, "You stop right here, stop right here." I'm going, oh crap, I could ride by and be an asshole. I could try that, at which point he'll just run me over, so that's probably not going to work really well. I could stop and he could shoot me. That's not going to be great either. But maybe if I stop, I could talk him out of shooting me and it'll all be better, right? So I stop. And I stop and he says, "Well, shit." He says, just like that. "Well, shit. I'm coming out of Coeur d'Alene this morning and I saw you coming up that grade, and then I'm coming back the other way. I see you still going. Well, shit, here I come again, and you're still going. Where the hell are you going?" And I say, "Well, I got to get down to Boise in a couple of days, and I don't know. Maybe I'll stay at Moscow tonight. Maybe I'll get to Lewiston. Maybe I'll get to Moscow." He says, "Hey, it ain't Moscow. There ain't no cow in Moscow. You want a Moscow, you got to go to Russia." This guy was like 80, with gray hair sticking out from under his cap and coming out of his nose, and he probably couldn't have weighed more than 125 pounds. I mean, he's wearing the greasy coveralls, and I thought for sure, the story yesterday of the skinheads who are going to sacrifice me, human sacrifice, and then this day the guy in the pickup truck tell me, "Get over, stop right here, stop." I was going to die. I knew. And instead, he was just a nice guy who wanted to know what this guy was doing, riding his bike all over the place. He couldn't believe that somebody could ride this far. So I thought I was going to die. I had everything inside my own head that scared me about how people were in this place that I didn't know about. And I had all of my own bigotry, because that's what it is, bigotry, that these people were scary. And they weren't. This is a really nice guy, and we had a great conversation, and learned a lot about Idaho and about not prejudging people, and I can go ride my bike in the places I want, even wearing Lycra, and they won't do a human sacrifice on me, at least not yet.